It's interesting because I didn't really think about becoming a nutritionist or starting a business. I went back to school and got certified in Eastern and Western nutrition. I was just fascinated with it because also I was never really that well or didn't have a lot of energy. I struggled with anxiety my whole life. So I personally was interested in like, oh God, this life needs to feel better. And I want to be calmer and more centered and all of those things that I had never felt.
You're listening to the MILF Podcast. This is the show where we talk about motherhood and sexuality with amazing women with fascinating stories to share on the joys of being a MILF. Now here's your host, the MILFiest MILF I know, Jennifer Tracy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is MILF Podcast, the show where we talk about motherhood, entrepreneurship, sexuality, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jennifer Tracy. I'm so excited because today is our first episode of February 2019. And last month, our January give was for an organization called Harvest Home LA. And we were able to make a lovely donation to them on January 31st. I'm very proud of that. Thank you, everyone who left an iTunes review. So this month, I'm gonna up the stakes a little bit, you guys. So for every iTunes review that you guys post in the month of February, I am going to donate $25 per review to this beautiful organization that J.K. Rowling founded called Lumos. Lumos is located at wearelumos.org. If you want to check them out, please do. They're beautiful. If you want to donate to them on your own, please do that. But just know that for your action of writing an iTunes review for MILF Podcast, I will be donating $25 in the month of February. This is from their homepage. So what they do, it's really beautiful. They help families to bring their children home. So there are, as I'm learning through Lumos, there are a lot of thousands and thousands of children in orphanages, thousands of children that get sold to traffickers, thousands of children who are living in squalor in these homes. What Lumos does is they are trying to provide services, healthcare, and education so that children can be with their families. So let me just read this straight from the website. We help families to bring their children home. We work with international donors, governments, and communities, helping them redirect funds from orphanages to provide health, education, and social services so children can be raised in loving families. We train professionals to deliver better care and support. We transform the conditions that leave children at risk of trafficking and abuse. We help families to bring their children home. And if you kind of go through their website, you'll see the stories of what they've accomplished so far, and it's pretty phenomenal. Their whole thing is that by the year 2050, they want to have this eradicated, that there won't be a need for orphanages. And what they do is worldwide. It's really impressive. I'm very impressed, which is why I'm so proud to be able to donate to them. And whether you guys write iTunes reviews or not, I'm going to be making a donation, but it's a fun way to get you guys to participate in this with me. And so that we can continue to learn about all these wonderful organizations that are out there. And I love that a mom started it. That's the month of February. Let's see. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce today's guest, Elissa Goodman. Elissa is the best-selling author of the book Cancer Hacks. She's a holistic nutritionist, lifestyle cleanse expert. She's just generally a badass. She is beautiful, she's sexy, and she knows a lot of stuff about the body, about holistic medicine, about nutrition. I went to her house and she made me this beautiful green juice. And it was so delightful and refreshing. And it was even better because it was served to me by her in her home. It was such an honor to interview her. And I really hope you guys enjoy this talk with Elissa Goodman. Hi, Elissa.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm honored every time I get asked to do a podcast. And so I love it.
I just admire you so much. You're such a graceful, open, loving person. And when I met you at the Self-Care Project with Dr. Suzanne Gilbert-Lenz, she immediately pulled me over because I had a fangirl moment. I don't know if you remember.
I do.
Because I recognized you and I was like, oh my God. And I said, Suzanne. And she said, oh. And she introduced us and very graciously. And I immediately said, I want you to be on my show. And you were so open. And she said, absolutely. And it was just so loving and nice and also in line with everything that you do. But
I'm not used to those fangirl moments, though.
Really?
They're so wonderful, but you sort of.
I bet you get recognized a lot, though, in LA, especially.
I guess I do and I don't.
Right. But when people are cool, they're not like me. They're not like,
I wish they were more like you. Makes you feel
excited. Good. Oh my God. I mean, I get like that, So just because, it's the reason I started the podcast. I'm a fan of women taking bold steps and doing things that are helping other women. I mean, not just women, but that's a bold, it's a bold thing to start something new and create an idea and birth something else. So, but I want to start from the beginning just a little bit. I want to know, where were you born? Where were you raised? What was your childhood like?
I was born in Evanston, Illinois. And when I was 1, we moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, both my parents had met at University of Arizona and Tucson. So, and they're both from Chicago. So they went back to Chicago.
F this cold weather.
You got it.
So you were raised in Arizona?
I was raised in Arizona.
Oh, that's a nice place to grow up.
It was. It was
Siblings?
Beautiful. I have an older brother who's 3 years older. And I was there till I was 22. And then I got out of there and moved to New York. So it is a great place to grow up. It just was a little slow and not very diverse.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, well, and you being you needed to get to the big city and do things. So what did you do when you moved to New York?
You just tagged me. I was in the marketing advertising business. And I sold TV time for years. And then I sold ad space for magazines and some really fun Architectural Digest and Vogue and some really fun magazines. Good Housekeeping.
Oh, wow.
Which was quite interesting.
So that's interesting. And we'll circle back to that because I'm sure it informed a lot of what you do now. Yeah.
I got lucky because, starting a business later in my life, I had that advertising marketing and I knew how to market myself. So that combination really did help.
Yeah. So you're in New York, you're in your 20s, you're living your best life. What part of town did you live in?
I lived in 4 different places in the 8 years I was there.
Yeah, of course. That's how it is.
Kept trying to move up into a bigger space, but sometimes that didn't work so well. But I met my husband there. So yes, I loved New York. I thought that was the best time of my life, even though I was sick a lot because I was always sick growing up and I didn't have the strongest immune system. So the cold weather and the stress of the city and the energy of the city did a number on me.
Yeah.
But I still remember it with a fond, just a big heart. I loved the people I met and just the energy and just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And so you met your husband and what did he do at the time or what?
The same thing.
The same thing.
Of course, we met while working together in the advertising business and we worked together for a little bit and then he went on to work for ABC TV. And he sold television time for them. He was from Queens, was born in Miami, but lived in Queens and lived in New York all his life and had never been to the West Coast. So when we got married and I said, hey, we're moving west, he didn't quite understand west. He didn't know Pacific Ocean.
Right.
He thought, New Jersey.
Right. So you said we're going to LA.
Yes.
And
yeah, I just needed to get out of the weather and I couldn't really picture raising kids there. So I said, I want a slower life and I want more sunshine and hot weather because of course I was accustomed to that from Arizona. And he ended up getting a job with ABC out here. So it was a really nice transition. And then he went to work for the Discovery Channel for years, which was also fabulous.
That's great. So you've been out here for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah. And then, so how soon after that did you have children?
Well, I got diagnosed with cancer when I came out here, a year and a half after I got out here. And I started working for Vogue magazine. And I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so that was a little bit of a halt in the kid department.
Wow.
I was trying to have kids. I had 3 miscarriages, actually. So then I ended up having a massage one day, and a woman had me sit up, and she was massaging my neck and my collarbone. Usually they don't have you do that. Usually you're on the table. And she felt a lymph node on my collarbone. And she said, you're not supposed to have a swollen lymph node there. So go get it checked out. Got it checked out. The doctor didn't even do a biopsy. He came in and felt it. And he was like, oh my God, this is probably cancer.
That's what he said?
Yep.
Oh, that's terrible.
Terrible.
That's terrible bedside manner.
Absolutely.
Well, you must have been terrified. What were you, 30 years old?
I was 32.
Oh my God.
I know. It was terrifying, because you automatically think when you hear that word,
I'm dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Or I could die.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a journey. The doctors were they did find it was an early stage, but even the early stage, the doctors were still in that mindset, chemo, radiation, freeze your eggs because I hadn't had kids.
Right.
And also, do you have a donor? That first meeting was all of that. Do you have a donor to have a transplant? You might have to have one. It's just the way they treat you.
Bone marrow transplant?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So I ended up seeing a couple other doctors. And in the meantime, there was a guy, a radiologist, oncologist that came into my circle, and I went to see him. Radiologist, and he said to me, he sat me down and he said, it's an early stage. Can you just tell me about your life? What's life been like? Are you happy with what you're doing? Or do you have passions in your life?
Wow.
Yeah. Are you stressed? It was quite exceptional because doctors today still don't do that. And I burst into tears. I'll never forget, just hysterical.
I just got chills everywhere.
I'm really not happy. I moved from New York. I don't really love LA. It was hard to really infiltrate myself into the LA scene with everybody living so far apart. And, it was hard.
Yeah.
And at 32 for some reason. And then also I wasn't happy with my job. And it was a hard transition. And I had grown up in a very stressful, type A family. So I was sort of always stressed my whole life. I didn't even know what non-stress was like. So yeah, I was like, wow, he was amazing. He goes, you know what? Let's slow this process down and maybe, you can do, he did say, little chemo, a little radiation, but I ended up doing some research and I just found an oncologist oncologist who did half the radiation. And I just changed my lifestyle then. I just said, you know what, I'm going to heal from this. And this is my wake up call. And I went into juicing. Beverly Hills Juice in LA was the only juice place in town. Do you know that place?
Of course.
Everybody does. It's an institution, right?
Yeah.
And then Mrs. Gooch's, which is Whole Foods now. And I did acupuncture. I mean, there was so much here and there still is, but there was so much wellness.
Yeah.
And I started doing yoga and I actually went into therapy in a big way.
Yeah.
So I just got my emotional stability better and my food better and just started, really taking care of myself in a lot of ways. So
Wow. What an amazing physician that.
Yes.
Was it a man?
It was a man.
Oh, that's just amazing. And so what was the journey of the rest of that cancer?
So I did the radiation and then I just did this whole protocol with, just on my own, really.
Yeah.
I came up with it, juicing, and went to every day I juiced a lot of carrots, which I wouldn't do today because of the sugar.
Right. I've heard that.
Yeah. He had beet and carrot. He had not very tasty juices. They were very...
Not like this. May I ask?
Yes.
Because Elissa made me this glorious juice before. Absolutely. She said, I'm going to make myself a juice. Would you like one? And I was like, as if I'm going to turn it down.
That was a cute
What
response.
is in this?
So it really is simple. It's celery and cucumber and romaine and lemon.
Oh,
and it's just refreshing.
So refreshing, yes.
And all of those things have incredible nutrients. I mean, the liver... They say can detox the liver. The celery can detox the liver. The cucumber can detox the kidneys. And the lemon is really great for detoxing the intestines.
Yeah.
And the romaine is just full of nutrients. I mean, just like kale and spinach. And we sort of forget about juicing romaine. But
yeah, it's so light.
Yeah, it's light. I love the lightness. So I know I'm always been a juicer ever since then.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I juiced and I did the vegan thing, which not very successfully, because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I healed and I ended up going back to Vogue, but the first couple of weeks I got shingles because of the stress and I wasn't quite ready to go back to work.
Your body was telling you
yes.
something.
And I quit.
Gosh, yeah.
And I went and found, I was working for like a New York Times magazine that I ran the office out here for about a couple more years. And then I got pregnant with my first daughter. So in 1990, like 3 years later,
Wow.
I had to wait a few years, they told me, before I'd get pregnant. And so I got pregnant with her right away, which was really nice.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So
I had her in 95.
Did you have to use the frozen eggs? Was there?
No, I didn't do any of that.
It was just all natural.
They just radiated my upper body, my chest and my neck. But I did get hypothyroidism because of radiating my thyroid. So I definitely didn't walk away clean.
Right.
I did have illnesses and, a lot of issues afterwards.
Right. So then you have your first daughter.
Yes.
And you're a new mom. And what was that like?
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
That was still, isn't it for everyone?
Yes.
I was still working and pumping and working and pumping, that whole, I'll never forget one time going up I serviced the West Coast. So I was in Seattle and Portland for the magazine and I had to go take a trip and take my pump with me, and my manager, my guy from New York who saw me, I just remember being in such excruciating pain of, not being able to step aside and pump.
Oh, it's so, that hurts so bad.
So bad.
I'm grabbing my breast right now.
I'll never
out of empathy for that.
Actually,
pain.
I think I forgot my pump. That's why I forgot my pump. Oh, I'll never forget that.
How long were you not able to pump for? A day, 2 days?
2 days.
Oh,
it was, I had to try to do it, manually in the shower.
Oh, yes, to just for the pain.
Relief, for the pain. Oh,
I'm squeezing.
I know.
Just listening to you talk about it.
It was awful. I don't think people have to do that these days. There's so many.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So wow. So how long did you do that for?
I actually just worked for a couple years.
Okay.
And then I worked till I had my second daughter 3 years later.
Okay.
And then I stopped working and I just raised my girls. So and
I love you say just. I mean, but we're conditioned to say that. I mean, but it's not that you meant it like that, but you meant like that was your sole focus.
It was my sole focus.
But the fact is, it's a massive
undertaking, right? And then the saddest thing of all was, my girls were, I think it was 7 and 4. And my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So just right in their, those crucial years.
Yeah.
When I know that subconscious is fully downloaded by the age of 7. But it was a really scary time. So he got diagnosed with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But he had one fast growing cancer and then the other one was a little slower growing. So he got through first treatment fine, but then literally like 2 months later, it came back and it actually had gone into his spinal fluid. And then he had 2 bone marrow transplants in a year, which is so unheard of. And then he ended up passing away of fungal pneumonia because his immune system was so compromised at 45. So they were 10 and 7 at the time. So that was not a fun time and it was so stressful. And I just was terrified.
Of course. I mean, did you have support at that time?
I had a lot of friends that we had made because the girls were in school and a really great school with lots of wonderful people. And he had great people from work and we had built a really nice community for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of support, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was still like,
of course,
scary thinking, what am I going to do with myself? And then
lost your partner.
Yes.
And that's,
And these 2 girls had 2 parents who had cancer.
Yeah.
And that I think for me was like a wake up call as well. Like, are they going to automatically think they're going to get cancer? I mean, and also the trauma that they went through with him getting sick and then watching him like die was also pretty horrible for them. I mean, I don't think they'll ever get over it.
Right.
So
how can you? I mean, something like that. It's not something you can get over.
No.
It's part of their tapestry now.
Yeah. So we've a lot of years having to deal with their trauma and PTSD of all that, as well as getting them, I'm overly my intention to keep them healthy, which of course, backfires, as you know, when you're the mom and you're forcing them to eat certain things and also juice these, drink these juices. So it definitely does backfire on me.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure. Yeah. So was that the impetus for you to then start this business?
And it's interesting because I didn't really think about becoming a nutritionist or starting a business. I went back to school and got certified in Eastern and Western nutrition. I was just fascinated with it because also I was never really that well or didn't have a lot of energy. I struggled with anxiety my whole life. So I personally was interested in like, oh God, I need to, this life needs to feel better and I want to be calmer and more centered and all of those things that I had never felt, plus more energized. Like I always felt like I was behind the 8 ball. So I got certified, and then like 3 months after I did, a friend of mine brought Cafe Gratitude from San Francisco to LA to the Largemont location. Yeah. And she said, would you be interested in creating a food program or a cleanse, as they called it, for us?
That was where I was first introduced to you.
Oh, really?
Not personally, but that's where I first started seeing your stuff and started following your journey. And I was at that moment so impressed by you. And I just thought, this lady's really special.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was such an incredible opportunity because that launched my career.
Yes.
And I did that for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then a year into the Cafe Gratitude program, M Cafe, the owner, was a friend of ours. So he asked me to do a macrobiotic food program for him. So I did that for probably 6 years. And then Erewhon, the new owners took over Erewhon, and I became friends with them. And they asked me to do a program, but that one didn't last that long because the other ones were, put together for people and packaged, and they'd pick up or delivered. Right. But Erewhon, you had to go in and pick out your own.
I remember that. Stuff. I was like, I don't want to go do that. No, I'd rather just do it Cafe Gratitude.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nobody wants to go in and like pick it out. And yeah, exactly. They want it all packaged for them.
Yes.
And
if you're going to do that. Right. I mean, I still go into Erewhon and spend my whole paycheck because I like to do that for half a bag of groceries.
Isn't that for sure?
I just do. I love it. I don't do it all the time, but I love it in there. It's just, anyway, it's a splurge for sure.
Crazy. It's I just watching that store change from the
mom and pop store it used to be.
And the dirt on the floor and the bins.
Oh no, it was so... I loved it when it was more of like just the hippie health food store. In fact, the man who was the manager there, I wish I could remember his name back then. He was so kind. He taught a cooking course on how to make a vegan Thanksgiving because I also was vegan, very badly vegan for a couple of years in my 20s. And I was going to host Thanksgiving. And my other girlfriend was vegetarian. And I was like, oh, she's coming with her boyfriend. So I took this class and he taught us how to make all this beautiful, amazing vegan Thanksgiving inspired food. And it was taught in the Erewhon.
Wow.
They had this like kitchen space. Yeah. It was so lovely. But I like how it is now, but it's it's different. It's not.
Oh, it's totally different. Yeah. I know. They're on the leading edge of health and wellness as a store. I mean, there's no other store in the country like it. But yes, you do sadly pay for health and wellness.
My ex-husband calls it the pink slip store because he feels like you have to give them the pink slip to your house.
I know. It's true. It's true. And I went in there. My youngest is in Spain, so she was traveling abroad. And I went in to get some supplements for her, but she's gone until the end of May. So I bought quite a few things of supplements and we bought some food. I was with my fiance. And oh my God, when that number came up on the screen of how much
fell over.
We were like, he was like, oh my, what did you buy?
I know.
And those supplements are a fortune.
Oh, they're a fortune.
Yeah.
But when you really realize what the ingredients are, we'll get back to that. So, because you know all about that. So you had all these programs running. It just sounds like it just caught fire. You did the Cafe Gratitude thing, then the M Cafe, Erewhon, you're just everywhere all of a sudden.
It was so fun. And then I put together a 21-day do-it-yourself cleanse on my site. So people outside of LA could, just experience healthy food and healthy living. And I did that. And then 4 years ago, I was like, wow, I've done all these programs for other people. Why am I not doing, something myself? And a lot of clients were saying, will you cook for me? And I'm not really a chef. I love healthy food and my assistant does a lot of the cooking. So for some reason, I do know how to pick out good stuff. I have an eye for it, but she does fill in and help me with all of it.
Yeah.
But so together we sat down and we were like, oh, let's just try, like, maybe we'll cook and deliver a cleanse, ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just finished our 4th year last year, and we have this cleanse that has been so much fun. It's like soups and salads and everything that I like to eat.
Yeah.
Detox tonics and broths, and it's plant-based, and it's loaded with veggies because I feel like people do not eat enough veggies.
Oh gosh, that's me.
And no gluten,
terrible.
right? Right. I mean, I think a lot of us could say that. And no gluten, no sugar, no dairy.
This drink you've so generously given me might be the first group of vegetables I've had in like 3 or 4 days. It's really sadly.
Bad woman.
I know. I'm just calling myself out.
That's okay. I love that part. I know it's, we don't get nutrients at a cellular level. And so I was thinking, nutrient dense, just whole foods, going back to the basics for people. And it took off, and we service like almost 50 people every other week.
What?
Yeah.
That's huge.
So 100 people a month, and it sells out. And we're the January that we're talking
so
in.
that you have a limit. I was going to say,
we have a limit. We can't do more than 49, 48, 50. And this month we do 3 weeks in a row because it's, everybody's trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And we sold out the whole month. So it's like, what? Is this really happening?
So great.
It's really.
There's such a thirst, literally and spiritually, like for what you're offering. That's so great.
The great thing too is, I think you can understand this when you get a home cooked meal and your mom cooked or you cook or for your family. It's just full of love most of the time, and it's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
So the chefs that work for us, and everybody is like full of love and intention of putting just high vibration and good energy into the food. So I feel like hopefully that comes through with it as well.
Of course.
And I think that's what's led to the success, is just that we all absolutely love what we do, and we love the food, and we're foodies. The food has to taste good.
Yeah.
So, we switch it up at 4 times a year so people don't, because we have a lot of people that repeat.
Yeah.
So they don't get tired of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of work. And you're constantly making appearances now. And I mean, tell me what else is going on with your business.
I wrote the book a couple years ago, Cancer Hacks, and I just healed from Hashimoto's. I put myself in remission. So that's another thing that I'm getting ready to hopefully write a book on autoimmune hacks, my story of how I healed, because I know a lot of people out there, it's the fastest growing autoimmune disease today. And thyroid issues are just on the rise.
Yeah.
And so I spent years trying to figure out what was wrong, first of all. And then once they figured out what was wrong, I was on meds for 21 years and still didn't really feel fantastic. I felt good, but I didn't ever know what great felt like. So when 3 years ago, I read the Medical Mediums book. I do love alternative, modalities.
Yeah.
I'm not just based in science, so I can be a little woo-woo.
Oh, I'm way woo-woo.
Okay, good.
You have the right girl in front of you. I just saw my astrologist,
right?
Remington, my astrologist. He does like astrology, tarot, and numerology. He's amazing.
I love that.
I'm with you.
I love that.
So
I'm into all that, the crystals and the Reiki and the energy healers for years.
Yeah.
And so I basically read the Medical Mediums book, Anthony William, and then I had a session with him. I got lucky because it was before he stopped talking to people.
Right.
And he basically said, you have viruses and toxins in your thyroid and your liver, and you need to do something about them, or you're going to have a serious health issue. And I was like, okay, another, wake up call.
Yeah.
And you can't test for that. You don't know if you have pathogens and bacteria and viruses, but I know we all do in our system. So we come into the world toxic, and I think, we can't help but pick up toxins along the way. So I did a protocol of his, very easy, for about 3 months. And I went into feeling great.
After 3
months, I felt I started to wean myself off with a doctor, my thyroid medication. And ever since that day, that was probably 2.5 years ago, of course I have moments I don't feel great. So I won't.
You're still human.
Yeah, I'm still human.
You are a superwoman, but you're still human.
Was like, wow, this is what it could feel like. Like, it was pretty incredible. He helped me lower my viral loads and my bacteria and fungus loads in my body. And that's, I think, when, the body starts to really be able to function properly. Cells are able to replicate and duplicate properly, because your body's so busy fighting off all this, like these toxins.
Yeah.
When it's not so busy doing that, then it really can, efficiently run on.
Yes. And thrive.
And thrive. Yeah. So, but I wasn't through it because my blood work still showed that I was off the charts high with my thyroid numbers, or low, but TSH was high and T3, T4 were low, and my antibodies were still off the charts high. And then I ended up, like months later, meeting a functional medicine doctor in New York, Gabrielle Lyon, and she said to me, she didn't even like test or anything. We were meeting just because someone said we should meet, and she was a fantastic lady. And she looks at me and she goes, "I think you might have a parasite." And I was like, "How do you know that? Because you're just looking at me." And she said, "I want you to go see this disease doctor, infectious disease doctor up the street tomorrow. And let's just rule it out." And I went to see him, old guy in his 90s who was quite exceptional on Fifth Avenue, and ended up having Giardia.
Oh my gosh.
And I took care of that. All my numbers came down. So my antibodies came down.
I'm sure that's so much more common than we even realize.
So I think that, parasites and all that kind of stuff that we don't really think about as much and test for. And also heavy metals. I had high mercury and arsenic.
Yeah. Arsenic.
Arsenic. Yeah. And a lot of my people who eat chicken, lots and lots of chicken, test high for arsenic. I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm off chicken right now. Not even I still eat meat, but I'm having one of those. I go back and forth with chicken where my body just gets repulsed. And I'm like, oh, I can't, the texture of the.
Same here.
I'm just one of those. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll have a chicken sandwich or whatever. But I can't just, yeah. Interesting.
I
Arsenic.
know.
I never would have guessed that.
So
it
was functional doctors do tests for those things when you have autoimmune stuff.
Yeah.
So I always recommend to my clients to go see a functional doctor or somebody, an integrative one who is interested in getting to the root cause of why you have these issues. And a lot of them are heavy metals and mold and, parasites or these toxins or viral issues. My Epstein-Barr came up even though I had mono and strep and tonsillitis and all those things as a young
but
person.
It was still dormant and got that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you had this doctor here that was treating you with a 3-month protocol. Was it with herbs or what?
Yeah, it was with, it's bioactive silver, which is everywhere. Silverone makes one that is, an antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. I was doing that with some high concentrated zinc liquid, which is great for immunity and also helps the cells seek out and destroy viruses.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. And then I was doing high dose ester C and lysine. Lysine's a big viral.
Right.
Ester C just comes down the central nervous system and can have some helpful benefits on viruses as well, build the immunity. And then I did some licorice root extract. A lot of this stuff was liquid. It was interesting. It worked. That's why I think it works so fast. And I love herbs. I love herbs that have been around forever, like licorice root or cat's claw or olive leaf is, phenomenal. Lemon balm. So I was on the licorice root, which is incredible for adrenals.
Really?
I don't recommend the liquid for people who have high blood pressure. But if you have low blood pressure, it's whoa, a lifesaver. It's beautiful. Or there's licorice root tea that is pretty incredible. So
I should try that because I have
adrenals.
Yeah. I always, when I get tested for, my acupuncturist, Yael.
She's mine too.
Oh my God. Isn't she the best?
She's the best.
She's a genius. Actually, I want to get her on the show as well.
Yes, you must.
So you know how she does the testing, the arm, is it kinesiology testing?
Yeah.
She's always like, whew, your adrenals are just shot. We laugh about it. And she's like, you need the ocean trace minerals. I'm like, I have them. And last time, I was a couple weeks ago, she goes, and you just look at them in your kitchen? I'm like, yeah, I just look at them in the vials. But yeah.
You and everybody else probably have a supplement row in their kitchen or their bathroom.
Everything you just mentioned, all those herbs, I'm like, oh, have it. That one still has the wrapper on it. I don't know what that is. But if I'm really, really sick, I'll take everything that I have.
Yeah.
But I'm really bad about the maintenance of it.
I know. Most
like
people.
this beautiful drink that you gave me. I have a juicer. I have a Vitamix. Am I making the smoothies that Catherine McCord posts every day so I can know? You know what I mean? It's so interesting.
I know. I think it really does. It does take a lot of people that wake up call, which is so sad. It's human nature, right? I don't know how to get around that. I mean,
don't either. I'm just taking for granted but it's interesting listening to you. What I'm kind of internalizing is, wow, I'm kind of tired and my digestive has not been so great. And I would like to wake up and feel great and energized and like, I feel okay. But I'm tired a lot, and I go to bed when my son goes to bed, which is 7:30. I go to bed at 7:30 every night. I sleep until like 5:30 the next morning.
Wow.
I need a lot of sleep, but I've been thinking like,
that's so incredible to go to bed that early. That's a beautiful thing.
Or is it weird? Or is it that I'm too depleted?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
So can you not stay up past 7:30? Like it's like you can hardly keep your eyes open?
I can hardly keep my eyes open. I don't drink coffee. I do drink caffeinated tea in the morning, several cups of caffeinated tea.
Okay.
But it's just all the things you're talking about. It's inspiring me because I know I'm not getting enough nutrients. I'm not getting enough vegetables. Even I interviewed Catherine a couple weeks ago and she said, oh, well, the reason I do the smoothie challenge is because then I can get my kids out the door with a couple vegetables, a couple fruit servings. I'm like, God, I don't even get that in a couple days in my body.
Right.
And it's so important. And we learn that it's so important. And
I know it's the lifeline. It's the life force. Yeah. Like fruit and veggies are really where it's at.
Yeah. Fruit, I have no problem. I'll eat a flat of raspberries I go to the farmer's market. So I'll get the fresh stuff and just eat it so it doesn't go bad.
Well, that's a good thing. You're doing some good stuff there.
But it's because it's sweet and I have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
But anyway, I want to get back to Hashimoto. You cured yourself of Hashimoto's.
I went. Yeah, I don't think.
Am I saying it right? Hashimoto.
Yes, okay. Hashimoto. I don't think you ever can cure. It's like remission. So
you're in remission. Okay.
Yeah, because it could pop up again.
But you're not symptomatic.
I'm not symptomatic. And what happens a lot of times, I got Hashimoto's. I had the thyroid issue from the radiation. Right. And then I had my first daughter. And so when you have trauma to the body or you go through a trauma situation, I mean, somebody could pass away or any of those things. Sure. I mean, So it raised its ugly head
Which you had multiple times. 2 births. Yeah. And then your husband dying. Yeah.
Yeah. So it ebbs and flows. And throughout those years, it got worse. It got better.
Yeah.
Right. Trauma is really like tough on the body. And also stress, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, and lack of sleep and lack of nutrients.
So let's talk about your book, your first book, Cancer Hacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I had another, many of my guests have worked with Dr. Christy Funk, who's also amazing. And she's my doctor too. And I know Claire Stansfield was one who, a breast cancer survivor who's now a year cancer free, and was saying that she changed everything to vegan and under Christy's direction and green tea. And I was like, oh, I can't, but green tea makes me so like spaz. And she said, no, just get do the decaf,
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about your book and what are some of the main points. I mean, we all are going to rush out and buy the book because we should just have it on our shelves. But what are some of the main points of?
Well, for me, the main points are, there is another book that was written. I think she wrote it after me, but it's called Radical Remission.
Okay.
You ever heard of that by Kelly Turner?
Okay.
She did her PhD and she spent 10 years like interviewing stage 4 cancer survivors.
Wow.
And none of them did the Western like modalities. They all healed by, just nutrition and mindfulness and all this stuff. There was 9 factors that she came up with how all these people healed across the board. Out of the 9, there were 7 were emotional.
Whoa.
I know. It was really blew my mind. And 1 was food, 1 was supplements. So that, in my book, I did talk about the stress and the trauma that I've experienced throughout my life. And, I think when you come into the world and it's a stressful environment, you're on high alert from day one. And I don't think your body and your central nervous system and your just, everything that needs to stay calm and really keep you healthy throughout your lifetime doesn't ever, settle down and get to that calm, place. Plus, the biggest thing for me was I didn't love myself. There was no self-love, and it was constant beating up on myself, and I'm not good enough, and I just don't measure up, and all of those things I think a lot of us women do go through. And so that for me was huge. And I learned a lot of that in therapy, but I really didn't get it until recently, like how much I need the self-love. So those emotional things were just huge. But then in the book, it's all about what we were just talking about, just going back to the basics of eating just clean food, organic food, because our food supply is not so great these days, which is very sad. And just, getting as much nutrients as you can. And the simple things, being hydrated. We don't drink enough, water, and our water some of it is bad. And we don't really we don't eat enough fiber, because we don't flush our system. It's just like, as somebody I interviewed for my show today said, like flax seeds are really incredible because they are like a roto-rooter for your, intestines and your body. We need to get the toxins and, crappy stuff out of our bodies. So, and we're eating so much animal protein, and I'm such a fan of Dr. Funk's about that, because I know she did a lot of research. And I'm still not 100% vegan because somehow I just crave every once in a while.
Me too. I just had steak last night. My son loves filet. He's like, Mom, can we have filet tonight?
Yes. I mean, I know I do. I still every once in a while, and I love, salmon and fish. So, but I'm 80% vegan, and I do think animal protein does cause a lot of issues. But I'm also a big soy fan. And I was so happy when she came out with the fact that we could have soy.
Yes.
And there's a lot of research behind it.
Yes.
That it's not that, it's not so bad for us. And it's not so, we're not going to get breast cancer because we eat some soy.
Edamame.
Yeah.
Which is what I thought. I was like, I shouldn't have edamame because I have dense breasts. And I was just so misinformed. I didn't know.
And that's what's happening these days.
Tofu,
there's way too much information out there.
Yeah.
And conflicting information and all the different diet modalities, keto, intermittent, all these, like, it's crazy. So, but I do, so the book is really just about, just living a lifestyle that is balanced. And really tapping into your emotional, are you passionate? Are you doing what you love? Are you really serving yourself in regards to, you have one life, you are here for a reason, but most of us really discard and discount ourselves. And it's really sad to see.
It is. But it's called Cancer Hacks, but it's really a life hack book, for all of us, and cancer prevention, of course.
Right. It is.
Wow.
And like we talked about, it's like, just getting tested for like heavy metals and mold or parasites. In the old days when I was diagnosed, I did have a parasite as well. So, that's all those things are important to, get tested for.
And we all have those things.
Yeah, we do.
We all live in this environment. And it's so funny, like, I forget what it was, but somebody was freaked out about, something at one of my kids' former schools, something that was pollutant. I'm forgetting what it was. And I said, "Are you kidding? We live in look at where we're on Highland and Franklin, you guys. Like, we're breathing in toxicity daily."
True.
Don't worry about the cleanliness of whatever it was. I forget what it was. I wish I could remember, but
I know we do. We kind of go overboard too sometimes, right? With that. Yeah.
Because it's like, yes, we need to be aware of that, but there's it's all around us. And so, but listen, I have those air filters in every room of my house.
That's a good thing.
It helps.
Yeah, it helps.
I think
any
it helps.
little bit helps. And also if it makes you feel good,
exactly.
that you're doing something good. That's, that's huge because the mental part, I think, is more powerful, than the food.
Yeah.
Food is medicine, but that mental, where if you're telling yourself these negative things, your subconscious,
it won't matter if you're juicing.
It won't matter if you're drinking this green juice.
It's true.
So that's.
So you're writing your second book currently?
I am trying to.
Okay.
The first book was really hard.
It's so hard to write a book.
Really hard.
But you don't know this until you sit down and do it. And then you're like, people do this? Like,
I know.
It's so hard. So
it is.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard.
But you did it once.
I
so
did
you
it
know
once.
you can do it again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I feel like these days I love doing so many other things.
Yeah.
So that's what's hard. I mean,
And your girls are in college. It
yeah.
sounds like.
Well, my younger one is going to be 21 and she's,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, she's in college. And my older one is out of college, graduated and works actually for a Reiki master, like a Reiki person, which is cool. So she's in the business.
Is she here in LA?
She's in LA.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because I always think, oh, my son's going to move to I know he's going to move to New York, I'm sure, or London or something, because who wouldn't want to do that, at least for a little bit? But
I know.
I hope he comes
I wish
back.
they did, but I love having her here. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really fun.
That's so great.
My other one might not come back, but yes.
I heard you say you're engaged.
Yes, like
Can we hear a
permanently
little bit about
engaged.
that? Well, you're engaged in life. We
In
know
life.
this, but you mentioned
Yes.
fiance earlier,
Yeah,
so that's
I've
exciting.
Been with him for like 10 years. And I just, at this time in my life, I don't really think I want to get married.
Mm.
I know that people just look at me sometimes cross-eyed about that, but I just feel like, I love the freedom
Yeah.
that it brings. And I also love the fact that I don't take him for granted. So every day I get to wake up and go, oh, I love being with you, and hopefully same for him.
Yeah.
That I just don't want to go to that place where it's an automatic or, I'm thinking.
Yes. So that's lovely. So you guys are enfianced.
Yes.
And that is just where you
never
are
know
resting. Yeah, in it. That's
what
so
to
lovely.
call him because it's partner or that sounds like a little.
I know.
I have a woman partner maybe or
Right.
boyfriend sounds so crazy when you're
like
58 years old.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So
Congratulations.
it's all good. And he has 2 boys as well, and they're great and out of college. And so, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to build a new family. And he's really the one that has helped keep me planted my feet on the ground and helped me really do this. He was someone who didn't really want to just be taking care of a woman in his life. Like he didn't want to just have a wife or, fiance that didn't do something with her life. So he just helped me really get out there and be able to build a business and
That's so awesome.
build, something for myself. And wow, I can never thank him enough. Like it's such a beautiful thing. He just gives me so much security and I feel really planted and calm with him. So I didn't have that most of my life.
That's so good. Well, you deserve it, sister.
Thank
so
you.
Happy for you. So we've come to the point where, perfect timing. I am going to ask you the 3 questions that I ask every guest, and then we're going to go into a lightning round. So the first question is, what do you think about, Elissa, when you hear the word MILF?
I think about, people, when my husband passed away, they call me a MILF.
Uh-huh.
So I think about a older woman being with a younger man.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
okay. Well, it's so
I didn't love it when they called me a MILF. So that was interesting. It was sort of like, ooh, is that
right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean to me? What does that mean about me? What is that? Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, so I ask this of every guest, and everybody has a different take on it, different experience with it. But so it's from the male coined acronym, which was from porn genre, Mom, I'd like to fuck. And we curse on the show sometimes. So I don't know why I said it softly, but because this has been a very clean conversation. But
we didn't have enough cursing.
Let's get some in now.
Let's get down.
So, but when I adopted that for the name of the podcast, the subtitle is Mom, I'd like to follow, because my whole thing is everything I've learned, most things I've learned of value have been from other mothers.
Wow. Yeah.
Other women in general,
Yeah.
but in particular, since I became a mother, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I was asking other moms, like, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? How are you? I was just lost. And so other moms led me, and I literally followed other moms. So it was a riff on that, and then a riff on the Instagram following,
Okay.
But it's an interesting thing to see how people feel about that.
Yeah.
What is something you've changed your mind about recently?
I've changed my mind about the fact that it's really okay to get older and age.
Yes.
Because I was definitely fighting it and feeling very like that. I'm 58, going to be 59. And it felt very
You
old.
look so good, girl.
Thank you.
You look so good.
And I thought to myself, would I want to go back to those younger years? No, not how I feel today, because I feel so much better. So I'm okay aging.
Yes. I'm with you on that. I struggle with it still, but I'm also like,
yeah, I'm not 100%.
I'm not 100%, but I'm more just leaning into it.
Yeah.
And just getting comfortable, in it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right.
How do you define success?
I define success with feeling like incredibly calm, nurturing in my heart. And grateful. I know that word's being probably overused these days, but
never too much.
I feel like that's my success. Is I'm so grateful for my life and my adventures and what I've been able to accomplish and what I've been able to learn. All those obstacles that have been thrown in my way, basically, were such a positive thing for me, because I never would have gone down this road if I hadn't been slapped in the face. I was one of those that just needed to be slapped in the face.
Well, and look how many thousands of people that you've helped because of it. I mean, that's such a gift. So, okay, lightning round. Ocean or desert?
Ocean.
Favorite junk food? This will be interesting.
French fries.
Oh my God, me too. I love French fries.
Can't get enough.
I love French fries. I almost tried to make homemade French fries, but I chickened out because it was a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I was like, movies or Broadway show?
Broadway show.
Daytime sex or nighttime sex?
Daytime.
Talking or texting?
Talking.
Cat person or dog person?
Dog.
Have you ever worn a unitard?
Yes. I had to.
Shower or bathtub?
A shower.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at ping pong?
Probably a 6.5.
Oh, okay.
I played growing up.
Oh, ice cream or chocolate?
Chocolate.
If you could push a button and have perfect skin for the rest of your life, but it would also give you incurable halitosis for the rest of your life, would you push it?
No.
Superpower choice: invisibility, ability to fly, or super strength?
Ability to fly.
Would you rather have 6 fingers on both hands or a belly button that looks like foreskin?
I think I do have a belly button that looks like foreskin. So it definitely, doing yoga the other day, looking in the mirror, I was like, So yes, probably belly button, because I could hide it.
What was the name of your first pet?
It was a dog, Georgie girl.
And what was the name of the street that you grew up on?
Georgia.
So your
named the dog after the street.
Your porn name is Georgie Georgia.
Ooh.
That is a really good one.
That's super cute.
She's a showgirl.
Georgie Georgia. Yeah, I love it.
Georgie Georgia. Elissa, you're such a treat. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I loved hanging out with you.
Me too.
What a wonderful human you are.
Oh, likewise. Such a treasure. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I really hope you enjoyed my conversation with Elissa. And next week on the show, we have Dr. Sarah Sarkis, who came to me through the World Wide Web. She found me on Instagram and contacted me wanting to come onto the show. And I'm so glad she did. What a brilliant woman. I mean, we had a wonderful conversation. I could have talked to her 2 more hours. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. Once again, just a reminder, for every iTunes review left this month, $25 will be going from my bank account into Lumos, the charity for children, getting children out of orphanages and into their family homes, founded by J.K. Rowling. Another badass. Would love to have her on the show. I'm just saying, if you haven't picked up your copy of 7 Habits of Baller MILFs on my website, please do, milfpodcast.com. It's a good read. And I just want to thank all of my listeners. I love you guys so much. This is such a treat and a treasure for me to be able to bring you these beautiful, wonderful women. I really feel that the deepest form of healing comes from sharing our stories with each other so that we feel less alone. And I'll be talking to you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.